Welcome, everyone. It's time for celebration. That's right, you can hear the music in the background. Of course, we are playing a MIDI, because if I played the actual song, I would die of orbital bombardment by... Okay, by some record company or another. And so we're playing this very good MIDI instead. And also got some beer here, because it is actually time to fucking celebrate. Okay, I need to fucking turn the music down a bit. That's a really good MIDI file. It is time to celebrate, everyone. We're celebrating the 1-year anniversary of an altercation in space, the Reconiverse, and I suppose more or less my existence, my public existence on the internet. And why not just go right ahead? And I'll say bottoms up. So I'm in a really fucking good mood today. Now also notice that this isn't a stream for several reasons, as you can imagine. First of all, I have no fucking idea what Twitch's alcohol rules are nowadays, and pretty sure Twitch wouldn't trust me with alcohol, or at least they'd trust me just as much as I trust myself with alcohol, which isn't very far with previous experience, but still, regardless, I don't know what the current rules are. I know back in the day you could get fucking more or less pissed as much as you want, as long as you didn't fucking let loose any slurs or anything. Just to be safe, I'm doing this as a pre-recorded thing. And of course, the other thing is that it's still somewhat early in the day. I want to get this video out for May 15th. Because on May 15th, 2013, was when the first page of An Altercation in Space released. The first 2 pages, actually. As well as the first Reconi Basics entry. And that was also the day my website went live. I bought the domain, I want to say 1.5 months previously, around about that time. Obviously kept the website hidden behind some, work in progress website still being built banner, because if you've seen the website at any point close to release of An Altercation in Space, or the first 2 pages, the website wasn't necessarily working well. That was also not entirely my fault. It was mostly my fault, of course, sure. But my fucking web host provider, which is Ionos, who is one of the worst fucking providers. Okay, I don't have any experience with any other providers, but it's fucking hard to imagine a fucking worse provider at this point. Like, holy shit. So the fact they charge for 2-factor authentication. I mean... You know what? Actually, I'll take that back. That's a good thing. All websites should charge for 2-factor authentication, so I never have to set that bullshit up again. Never mind. I'm not going to complain about that stuff. But they charge for everything. They wanted to charge me for setting up WordPress. They wanted like $4 a month for WordPress. For WordPress, which is free for those of you who don't know. They wanted $4 a month for basically just a one-click installer. $4 a month for something like that. I of course did it for free by just taking the files, putting them on my website server manually, executing them and setting up my website that way, which wasn't difficult, took like 15 minutes. And I'm not paying $4 a month for the rest of my existence, which is pretty cool. But that also meant that I had no help whatsoever in setting up the website. Despite me being a programmer, I very quickly learned that website design and web coding is something very different from actual programming. Web design languages and scripts are a thing, not a good thing, not a fun thing to work with, I imagine, for most people. Not for me, anyway. But I had to basically give myself a crash course on web design and, different languages, and I had 1.5 months of working with that stuff previously to the release of An Altercation in Space, but 1.5 months wasn't enough, not even close, and so a lot of features on the site were broken. And then they randomly started working. For example, the next page, previous page, links on my website or my Altercation Space comic pages. That's it's just a link at the bottom that's supposed to get you to the next page or the previous page. Surprisingly or unsurprisingly, for those of you who've worked with WordPress longer, I suppose, WordPress doesn't actually offer that feature automatically, meaning you have to script it in yourself or get an add-on that does. Actually, I don't think there is a free add-on that does that, but so you need to script it yourself, which I did, and which didn't work until randomly about a month after I released the first page of. Oh shit! Don't fucking. Oh god. Okay, no, it's not autoplaying. Let me just music. Let me do this. Sure. Wild World. Why not? Sure. Absolutely. So about a month and a half or so after the release of the first 2 Altercation Space pages, it randomly started working. Not sure why. I was very happy about it. I think I talked about that at the time in the stream, that it started working, which, cool. Why not? Until WordPress decided to update without my consent, and then it broke again. And it was broken for 3/4 of a year. I fixed it like a month or 2 ago. And now it's working again. Very basic features. And the other thing I talked about recently that I didn't notice for about a year of the website being online is that it was completely unusable on mobile, because as you can see, most of my text is white on blue. And if you tried to use the upper navigation bar on mobile, it opens a burger menu, and the background of that burger menu is white. And there's also no easy way to change that. And that was a bit of a problem. No one reported that to me. Apparently no one noticed or no one cared. To be honest, I don't fucking care about mobile users either, but I'm not supposed to say that part out loud. Still, it was broken, and major parts of my website were unusable on mobile until I randomly noticed it when a friend, because I was actually, I'll brag about this because it's actually pretty interesting. I was ahead of the curve in my study group at my university when it came to building websites. I think I was the first one. Now everyone around me is completely independently of me. Only about 2 or 3 people in my current course know about my website. Completely independently started building their own websites about their own projects. Some using GitHub, some... I don't know if anyone else is enough of a masochist to use WordPress. I hope not. That'd be... I wouldn't want to be around that person, just like no one wants to be around me. That's just the alcohol speaking of. But all jokes aside, so a year ago today, an Altercation Space released. Of course, that wasn't my original target. I've gone over the whole thing before, but for those of you who don't know, it started, well, many years ago for me wanting to do a webcomic. Of course, Recanicast episode 1 goes into detail about all of that. And my original goal for releasing an Altercation Space was April 1st. And if I remember correctly, I had the first page of an Altercation Space done by April 1st. The title page, which I noticed is actually a bit of a problem, because, I mean, the title page, it sucks. Nowadays, looking at it, it's fucking disgusting. Color theory doesn't work, forms don't work, detailing is non-existent. It's ugly and sucks. But it also doesn't tell you anything about the story. It's just some burning buildings at night. So I guess it tells you that it's night and there are buildings burning. It also tells you the name, because, there's a logo, and it tells you that it's part of the first chapter, and it tells you the name of the first chapter. But it doesn't actually introduce any characters, have any dialogue, or, have any of the things that comics are supposed to have, ideally, which is why I decided close to the last second. I was actually very much ready to have it released, because at the time I also did my first stream, so I was feeling lucky, I suppose, and confident that I could actually manage to do something for the first time in my life. And I was very close to pulling the trigger until I found a perfect excuse to not pull the trigger and do literally anything else, which turned out to be creating the second page of an altercation space, and then also the first Ricani Basics entry, which also tried to explain, the what the fuck even are the Rika, which is a point I still haven't brought across 1 year after the first release of an altercation space, but I'm getting there. I think the Ricani Basics format is really going to be my gateway to having what I would call a human legible way of me getting my point of this comic across, which again, haven't achieved that so far, but we're getting there, inch by inch, second by second. Maybe you'll understand something what's happening at some point in the future. I'll give it my best for once. And of course, the first proper episode of the Ricani cast is out now, which talks about the ICRA. Also a very last second decision, where I thought, I could finally introduce the Rika properly. And of course, Ricani cast episode 0 already talked about them pretty extensively, at least on a metaphysical sense, I suppose. And Ricani Basics entry number 4 talks about their biology, so kinda exists there partially already, but having it in a combined legible format, also with my newest altercation, I suppose, for some of these ideas would be a good thing. That's what the next Ricani cast is going to achieve. But yes, so here go today, first 2 pages, Ricani cast, and pretty soon after, next couple of pages, then I started slowing down my progress as I realized, my comic pages, they're not good. They're not even okay. They're pretty fucking bad. I might need to go back to the drawing board and do things that I've put off doing for years, like practicing stuff. And that's also the reason why I created this banner for the 1 year anniversary of an altercation space, which looks like this. And pretty much tells the whole story, I suppose. You can see the first, I suppose it's the second drawing of Friss, and the first one does actually look better, but I guess the first 3/4 view of Friss, and how he's evolved over time. And you can tell I had no sense of form or line art or colors or pretty much anything for the first release of an altercation space, which is something I've had to work on ever since. And you can really see some improvement over the months. And really thinking back that it's only been a year, ideally, well, nominally, I've been drawing since like 2nd grade or something. In Germany, we have a curriculum which pretty much, or at least, of course, we have a branched school system. Let me put this away for a second. We have a branched school system which has, depending on how well you're doing in school, you go to different schools, and some are harder, some are easier, some are shorter, some are longer, and only if you do go along a certain path or complete certain requirements can you go study. And of course, so I went to the hardest school path, blah blah blah. And the school path I went along basically had art requirements for what amounts to pretty much every year in school, of which there were 12, though I did 13 because I had to repeat 6th grade thanks to Latin, which was cool. Thanks, because of a fucking dead language that I don't give 2 fucks about. That was really, really awesome. Though it's also, in general, it's just 13 years, at least here in Bavaria now, because it was originally 13 years. Then they decided, you know what? These students are fucking lazy. They can do it in 12. And then they realized, actually, never mind, doing it in 12 years is a bit fucking hard, and now suddenly all of the students are dropping out of school. Something's going wrong. Okay, I guess we're doing 13 again. Which is very, very indicative, and in general, just how the German state works in a lot of things. I'm basically trying out fucking around and finding out that fucking around wasn't a good idea. Also, one of the many reasons why in the text that accompanies the 1-year anniversary post of an altercation space, I've been writing that Germany feels like it's fucking collapsing in on itself right now, which, yeah, no, it kind of fucking is. Our economy's in the shitter, our infrastructure is doing terribly, our politicians are somehow still becoming more incompetent from day to day. Security situation is fucking horrible. And of course, I don't need to talk about taxes, because, you know, paying like 40 to 50% of your monthly income in taxes is really fucking cool. I didn't intend to become political today, my 1-year anniversary of an altercation space, but fuck this country. I went out. I've decided that I'll seek greener pastures. Maybe there are none. Maybe I won't find any. But for real, just me being honest for a second, that this place isn't that fun to live in anymore. I've realized. Maybe that's just my young 23-year-old brain deciding that it's time for me to go literally anywhere else. But things aren't cool right now in Germany, and probably won't be for a while at least. So if you've got a job in like the US and you can somehow maybe give me a citizenship so I can work in, maybe even a fake citizenship that says that I was born in the US so I can work in like space companies and stuff, not have to deal with ITA restrictions, that would be cool. Like Raytheon, if you got a job, just call me up. We can make a deal. Or we'll see where I'll land. But I'm not feeling too good about the future here right now. But let's talk about anything else, something that's less depressing. Of course, there are many good news to talk about. So let me go into my document of good news, which is, where is it? I lost it. Oh no. There it is. Okay, so right, talking about, okay, I'm gonna close this document again. That's very bright. Okay, well, I'm not doing this live, but I'm still keeping the outtakes in, because screw it, why not? Why not? The other things, of course, I'd like to talk about is, you know, what has happened in a year, aside from my art, which has turned from eye-bleedingly bad to, it's not good, but it's not offensive. At least that's my perception of how things are going. Just the other project, because, of course, an altercation space wasn't alone. There was Kani Basics, which died for what I now consider to be very good reasons. Of course, reason one being university, which is going to continue being a problem in the future, now that I'm my master's semester. Or my first master semester, first out of 3. Because, well, it's not getting easier, and the work kees piling on. And at the time, I cancelled Kani Basics because while I had a lot of fun writing, writing takes, if you do writing, you know writing takes time, and not insignificant time either. If you want your text, that's the other thing. But I think every writer struggles with that. In fact, I know every writer struggles with that, because there was a whole German philosophical movement, or mostly philosophical, I suppose, at the time. We called it the Sprachkrise. Basically, a lot of philosophers coming together and saying, you know what? We're writing all this stuff, writing books, poems, whatever. Basically, what we're trying to do is convey the ideas we have in our heads and trying to put them into paper. But no matter how well we write, no matter how cool our writing is, and how we take different stylistic devices, put them into our writing to convey the meaning of our writing as best as we can. No matter how much of that we do, the thing we put into writing still sucks compared to what's in our mind, which, yeah, that's something I think every artist struggles from. And what these guys back in the day decided, you know what? Fuck writing. We're going to do anything else. Some went into painting, some went into doing music, some just fucking gave up and died. Most of them, in fact, all of them died at one point or another, but some of them gave up and others tried something else. And so, you know, writing is a bit of a hard thing in itself. You know, just trying to convey ideas and not making yourself sound entirely schizophrenic when you're writing these ideas down, which is actually harder than it sounds, because especially if you got a severe ADD as I do, basically your mind's always going about 300 times faster than any keystrokes of you could ever. So you write a paragraph down and suddenly realize, okay, in that single paragraph, I've crammed like 15 different ideas and 12 sentences, and the paragraph is only 3 lines long. Huh, something went wrong here. I think I need to redraft. And then you redraft, and then you redraft again, and then you scrap the entire paragraph because it actually kind of sucks, and you want to write about anything else right now. And so you write another paragraph, and then you give up for like a year because you decide, you know what, writing does suck. Actually, fuck writing. I'm never gonna write again. So you come back half a year later, look at your paragraph, decide it's shit, so you start from the top, you write it again, you realize, you know what, this is looking better, so you redraft, and then you redraft again, then you get upset, then you come back the next day, you redraft, look at it, and decide, you know what, this is just about legible, this is fine, we can use this, send it, it's fine. That's how writing works for anyone who's never done much of any writing. I think I summarized the most important points. For those of you who want to learn more about writing, why is my camera so focused on my chest? For those of you who want to learn more about writing, I recommend reading Bird by Bird by Anne Lamott, or Lamont, whichever way you pronounce that. I hope I didn't offend anyone by mispronouncing that name, but he gives a couple of very good, or in general, it's just a great, it's 50-50 writing advice and motivational stuff. And of course, if you want actual stylistic writing advice, you can read the, what's it called again? The Elements of Style, that's it. The Elements of Style and similar books for actual writing, or stuff like Story for writing stories, which gives you an introduction to all the important elements of stories. But Bird by Bird is a fucking incredible book that just goes over writing and the struggles of writers. And turns out you're not the only one that feels fucking stupid when writing. And that's a common experience. Or the other thing that I've noticed myself doing, and that Anne also talks about in Bird by Bird, is how when you read books, and sometimes you get motivated when reading books, and I actually got very motivated by reading Asimov and his writings. So I wanted to write, and in that time also wrote significantly more stuff, and it's kind of dropped off since. But I also noticed myself copying his writings, which is something a lot of people do. And Anne also talks in very frustrated terms about that in her book, about how, you know, she'd have a writing class and she'd give people something to read, and to come up with their own writings, either in some relation to that or, you know, just in general, their own writings. And then they come back a week or so later with their own writings, which sounded like 1-to-1 copies of the text they'd read, at least stylistically. Which, yeah, something humans do. And of course, finding your own writing style is well, your own writing? Yeah, no, writing style isn't as set in stone as art style. Art style also isn't set in stone, as you can kind of see here along the progress. There wasn't an art style at the beginning. There was an art style, but it sucked, and it's since changed into something more tolerable. But writing style is also something that shifts very much. Even within a book, even within a chapter, it can shift depending on what you're trying to convey. Of course, there are general writing styles. Frank Herbert being known for describing literally everything but what's happening in the story. Or or Asimov, who decides not to describe anything and just mostly does character exposition and story stuff, which is also pretty cool. And, you know, Tolkien has his own style. They all have their own style. But that's also something that very much shifts from day to day, and even really from hour to hour or from sentence to sentence. And of course, finding your own writing style, something that could be considered to be your own writing style, something it's hard to put into words, really. Finding I guess what you could call a solid red line to just follow in your writing, a basic framework, let's say, instead of style that you can follow, that using this framework you can get exposition done, you can get descriptions done, you can get this done, story, characters, whatever. That's kind of important, and that also takes some work. And of course you can just copy someone else's style, but especially if you haven't developed a style yet and you read other people's books or writings, you tend to copy a lot, which of course isn't a bad thing. I mean, all artists, basically what we're doing is copying, or great artists steal, as they say. So obviously you always want to copy, but you usually, at one point when you're confident in your work, of course, you don't want to one-to-one copy what you're seeing, which is like what children do when they, not really young children when they draw. Really young children when they draw, they draw some very abstract shit and then tell you that's a crocodile, and you're looking at a stroke of yellow that goes like this, and you look at it and you wonder how a children's brain might work. And you wonder how it translated a crocodile into a round line that goes like this. And it's very confusing. But at a certain point, children, when they see art, they just start copying it one-to-one. And they also, of course, they need to work off reference, because obviously artists need to work off reference, but they just start copying stuff. And, you know, developed artists that have been drawing for years and have developed something you could call their own style, of course. When you tell them to draw some fruits or something, you know, to a still life drawing, they'll still take the information that's in front of them, but integrate that information with their already existing framework of art, and then create art that's in their style, basically. And of course, kids don't have a framework of their own or little artistic knowledge, so they just try to copy as close as they can what they see in front of them. And okay, they see an apple, so make it round, something like this. There's an orange, also round, make it round like that. Okay, that's not really round, that's an oval, fuck, good enough. And, you know, I don't even know how I slipped into this discussion of art and style, but just something I wanted to talk about, I guess, for no particular reason. I guess it's relevant for me as someone who did close to no planning before releasing an altercation space, which has since repeatedly bit me in the ass, and something that I talked about time and time again across the Ricani-cast, my different streams, the Ricani update thing I did for a while. You know, art is difficult, and it's a learning process for, you know, even what I consider, or what, you know, in general people consider really good and developed artists. They still, most of them actually still consider their art to suck, at least to some degree. And they have their own fields of stuff they don't want to draw because they know they're really bad at drawing, whether it's, you know, hands, feet, or architecture, you name it. They usually always have something, because human lifetimes are short, and learning to draw everything in that time is completely impossible. So, you know, gotta build your own framework, which is something I've been trying to do since the release of An Altercation Space. Basically, like I said, going back to the drawing board, going back into the basics of writing too, I suppose, but drawing actually, and going back to the basics, and slowly over time, as we can see in the drawing, which I'll show again for a second, creating something that's still not perfect, still not even close to where I want to be, but it's something that's again, Other people could probably see that latest iteration of this and decide, you know what, this isn't awful, it's not good, but there are 2 eyes, a mouth. I think those are fingers and a hand. It's pretty good, honestly. The other thing I've noticed, it's very similar to the topic I talked about recently of programming. You know, once you're a programmer, it's very hard to understand people that don't program. I also recently draw with my cousin, I think he'd be. I don't know. Something in my family. He's 5 years old, turning 6 this weekend. You know, he's also the guy who I relate the crocodile story to. Oh, he draw. You don't need to know. He drew a wolf, if I remember correctly. Didn't look like a wolf, and it was yellow. But, you know, at that same day, I was also drawing with him, because, you know, he was drawing, he wanted someone to draw with him, and, you know, I decided, I do drawing, I can draw. And so I drew what did I draw? I drew his face, just a basic sketch, and, a bird of some sort, just an imagined bird. And I looked at my art, looked at it, and I was like, you know, this fucking sucks. And then my dad walked in, he saw the drawing of my cousin or whatever he is, and he said, he was also, you know, kind of not laughing at it, but, you know, just smiling and going, oh, okay, yeah, that's a wolf, sure. And he looked at my stuff and he's like, damn, son, you're fucking good at drawing. And I was like, huh? Excuse me? Have you seen my art? Are your eyes open? And of course, the joke I made at the time was fucking comparing me to my cousin. And I guess in relation to him, you could somewhat say that I'm good at drawing. But no, you know, similar to the programming stuff, even if you do basic programming, in the eyes of someone who doesn't know how to program whatsoever, you're a fucking genius. You're a wizard. You're like, damn, you're a fucking cyber wizard. God damn. I'm fucking scared of you now. Same way with art, you know, to people who really don't have a basic, or even if they have a basic understanding of art, you know, someone that's even just mildly better than them, they always go, wow, that guy's really fucking good at art. I still do it to this day. It's funny, especially with, you know, how much I've been practicing in a year, just have my, you know, my eye for artistic analysis develop in this 1 year. There was this, you know, I'll tell the story because it's quite funny. I have a huge art collection on my desktop where I just collect art that I want to use as reference material and stuff later on. And at one point, I had this drawing of what was it again? It wasn't just some anime girl sitting in a cafe, a top-down shot, something like this, of her just, you know, sitting on a chair sipping a cappuccino or whatever. And the colors in this picture are fucking amazing. I'll still keep that to this day. Whoever drew that is incredibly good at just color composition. And at the time I was looking at this picture going, wow, damn, I want to be that good at drawing one of these days. Like, Jesus, that's a really fucking pretty picture. And of course, you know, extreme high angle, low angle shots. I've talked about this recently with page 22 of Altercation in Space. Extreme angle shots are always very, very difficult and very annoying to pull off. And I was looking at this picture going, wow, that's a really good fucking picture. That must have cost a lot of time, involved a lot of skill, probably years of learning to draw. Damn. So I saved it somewhere, and then I was going for my reference material like half a year later, or maybe even a bit more, probably closer to a year, and going through it again, looking at this picture again. And again, I looked at it, and I thought, man, the color's amazing. And, you know, just the composition, like the face, the anatomy, the detail. Wait a minute. And then I looked at the picture, and I realized the facial anatomy basically made no sense whatsoever. So it was like her face was a cylinder or ball. Yeah, a ball mostly. It was going like this, just around like this. If you know the basic anatomy of the face, that the front side of the face is actually pretty straight. It curves a little bit, but not much. It curves more towards the sides, of course, the cheeks, but especially the eyes here are surprisingly front-facing and straight. And now I was looking at this picture, and it basically it looked like someone had like an orange and just flatly drew eyes on it, and that's like the eyes were like stickers on an orange. And I was looking at the picture, and I was actually fucking pissing myself laughing because it looked so completely wrong. And of course, at the time I looked at the picture, I looked at it quite a while, and I was like, that's a really good picture. Nothing wrong with that. That's just solid. And then just a bit later, I came back and I was like, wow, there's some big fucking mistakes here. Damn. And that's also I benefit from this effect myself at this point, even with my first page or first 2 pages of an altercation space. I don't know how many favorites they got back in the day on DeviantArt. Like 2, 3, or 5. Of course, I'm pretty sure DeviantArt, like most other platforms, they boost new users a little bit to give them a bit more exposure to begin with. But 5 favorites for something that looks like May 15th drawing. Very, very kind of people. Very, very, very fucking kind indeed. And as my art starts to improve over time, it's very much the imposter effect. You draw your art, you look at your art, you decide, your art, your own art is shit. Then you put it online, people are praising your art. It very much is like that in programming as well. It just, I guess, every field, every discipline. So it's very funny. It's I mean, yeah, you can't be good in every discipline and everything, and if someone some guy from a construction company showed me building just a basic framework of building a framework set up for a larger building later on, and he sent me through the building and asked me, Andre, what do you think of this? And I go around the building like, wow, look at all that intricate stuff, the wiring, the pillars, everything. This is cool. Must have been a lot of work. Some real ingenuity went into this. And I'd tell that to the guy. I'd be like, man, this is awesome what you guys put together. And he'd be like, no, actually, this is complete shit. We have to tear all of this back down again, because actually, look at this pillow, it's completely wrong. This one's cracked. The materials in this pillar are completely fucked. We can't use them. We have to tear everything down. Actually, we'll have to start from the top. I'd be looking pretty fucking stupid at that point, but that's kind of how it works. If you don't know, you don't know. And that's what I'd like to know. That's why people improve in their stuff, and why we learn and why we try to get better. Because fuck that house didn't get built in that fictional scenario. But still, just the year of me learning stuff, and me going from someone who just a couple of years ago decided, what, fuck art, I'm gonna be in science and that's it. To, me now drawing and stuff, making music as well, though I haven't really had any time for making music in just about a year, pretty much. Some little sketches, but I'm reserving those for the video game project, because we're gonna need a lot of music for that. So not willing to show off anything much. Maybe I'll make in general, now that we're approaching, or we're starting year 2 of an altercation space, the Recaniverse and all of that, I probably should start doing creation streams, I suppose. Or maybe just videos, maybe not streams, I don't know. Maybe videos to start out and get comfortable with it. Of me just either drawing, writing, what have you. Probably not programming, because there could be some sensitive stuff, encryption stuff. So probably not programming, but still, drawing, writing, maybe even do a live episode of Recaniverse at some point. Of course, I don't enjoy talking about the Recani stuff live, because my audience is small, and I have some very dedicated fans. Of course, thank you. There's also been people, slowly trickling into the Discord server now. in general. I'm approaching 100 followers on DeviantArt. This small franchise is actually, for considering that I'm doing basically zero advertising with my stuff, this franchise is actually expanding massively, which I'm of course very, very thankful for. But also, in the grand scheme of things, we're tiny, of course. I'm not even 100 followers on DeviantArt. I think 8 subscribers on YouTube. If I, just like with the first ReKaniCast episode, or episode 0, I suppose, that I did online. Was that episode 0? Was that? It was episode 0, I think. Was still online. Yeah, where the guys trickled in. And I was always very much stepping out of my comfort zone, even showing my shitty art from back in the day on that stream. Or not even back in the day, I mean, I showed the second page of an altercation space at the time. And, you know, people trickled in that didn't know what was happening, that didn't know me as a person or the ReKaniverse or anything like that. I think it makes sense even to you why I wouldn't necessarily want to stream in that environment, at least for the time being, until there are a couple of people that know what I'm doing, then I know will join the stream and be interested in what I'm doing and, you know, join for the stuff I'm doing, basically. Until that happens, I'll do just video game streams. That's also why, even though I should have streamed last week and why I said today was going to be a stream day, I'm not going to stream this. I'm just going to record it because, you know, this is nothing for the average audience, I suppose. This is content for a small subset of people, including myself and including you. And yeah, that's that entire topic done. It's getting dark outside, but I think I can wrap this up before I need to turn on the light. Hopefully. Let me look at my document. Right. Okay, the other stuff I started. Okay, that was all about Rikani basics and why I stopped writing, because writing takes a long time, basically. And also how I've been improving on, you know, my art and pretty much everything else, except for doing music, because I haven't done music in forever across the last year. And what a year it's been. So Rikani Basics eventually got shit-canned and replaced by Rikani Basics. Of course, Rikani Basics took forever to get going. Mostly university stuff. I was writing my bachelor's at the time. At the time I announced I was wanting to do Rikani. Excuse me, the ReKaniCast was when I was in the middle, or basically at my crisis point in my bachelor's, because nothing worked and I had to get my hands on an oscilloscope, and if I didn't, I'd be fucked because nothing worked. Of course, under those circumstances, I think it makes sense that ReKaniCast took forever to take off. And then eventually it did, recently it did. Of course, we had episode 0. And then episode 0.5, I apologized for not having appeared in for as long as I didn't. Now we have the first proper episode with the next episode. Hopefully coming hopefully coming soon future. Probably still with very few visuals. We'll see. I could drag out I could redo actually some of the Rikani Basics visuals for the ReKaniCast. That might not be a bad idea. But I still don't really have enough time. I wanted to really make them sketched out. Same, you know, originally I wanted to have Rikani Basics serve as a motivating factor for me to do preferably daily sketches and, you know, sketching stuff, creating stuff for Rikani Basics, basically combining my daily writing practice and daily art practice into a single thing and uploading that thing. Which was a good idea at the time, just didn't have the time. That was a big issue. And ReKaniCast, I still want to do sketches for that, but time is of the essence. Time is the big problem. So, but the framework I have right now, especially without visuals, is very simple, very easy to do. I actually betrayed myself. I actually did something sensible for once. Oh, I've got mail. That's nice. Thanks, AOL guy. I did something very sensible. I actually scripted my ReKaniCast episode. That's right. The first part is unscripted. I think you can hear that. But the entire speech by Tim, the entire thing was scripted out beforehand, and I scripted out using I don't remember, some YouTuber gave that advice at one point, but it's a very, very, very cool bit of advice that I'm very happy to share. He uses Google Docs voice-to-text functionality for his scripting of videos. Because, writing in itself, okay, that's fine. But I've noticed, and he noticed for himself, and that I've also noticed for myself, which is why I stopped scripting episodes, or stopped scripting my voiced stuff, is that I gave up on scripting, for example, ReCast episode 0 completely through. Because my writing feels very unnatural to speak aloud. But if you use Google's voice-to-text thing, you of course are talking the text that you're putting down. And then you can just, say it in a conversational matter, or in a matter that you would also then script the video in, or talk in the video. Put that in the text, and of course a Google voice-to-text has a lot of issues with my Ricani stuff, and my Ricani names and all of that stuff. It even have problems with the ICRA. It always did ICR space A space, and for some reason it doesn't recognize my period. It does commas, it does colons, but it doesn't do, I have to say colon. It does do colons, but it does colons. But it doesn't do periods. It recognizes my period, but then writes it out as a period instead of, putting down a period, which is bad. But new line works for the most part. And so, you can at least put a basic text piece down, and then you have to go over it like 15 times to replace all the many wrong words. And in a very short fashion, you actually have I scripted and recorded ReCast episode 1 in one day. Not entirely. I started scripting the day before and putting out the framework a couple days before. But it's incredibly fast. I could put out one episode a day if I wanted to, which I of course don't want to, and I don't have that much free time, but I could if someone put a gun to my head. And so that's cool. That should really improve productivity. Also, with me having to worry less about that stuff and just knowing that I can put it out in a day or two, which actually is a bad thing. That's something my brain shouldn't be aware of, because if my brain knows that I can, that I have a week to do something, but my brain knows that I can realistically pull it off in a day or two, well, I'm not going to start working until a day or two before the deadline, which, that's why they give me Ritalin, amongst a couple other reasons. ReCast, that's gonna continue happening. I'm very happy with how the first episode turned out. Of course, it turned out very differently from what I originally expected to do. Again, first I thought it would cover the Ricani basics. Then it turned into an ICRA thing, and then it turned into this big speech from Timothy Lashkin at a pretty crucial time for both the ICRA and the Ascendancy that I had scripted out, or not scripted out, that I had sketched out a while ago. And actually, ended up putting the entire speech into the first episode of the ReCast. So that's neat. That's actually cool. And of course, it gives you a bit of insight into the Ascendancy and into the ICRA as a institution. And that's a pretty cool way of just explaining some of the many different background aspects of the lore that still need to be explained to you for the story to really make sense. Even in the newest page 22, you guys of course have no fucking clue who Sarike and Tea are. Even though they're mentioned in the text. You don't know who they are. You probably need to know for the text to make sense, or, at least know why they're used as an exclamation. But the entire system behind that remains completely unexplored, and I don't think that's a topic I've ever even mentioned in any of my Ricani stuff up to this point. So that's gonna require its own episode of the ReCast. Pretty fucking simple, really. And so that's going along. Of course, we also had throughout the year AAiS, which was announced and then delayed and then announced and then delayed and then shit canned eventually. Many months down the line. Very similar issue to just Likani Basics. No time, basically. I wanted to do my daily sketches through AAiS, but, you know, I'd have to set up a system where people can submit prompts and questions. Then I'd have to check these, you know, wherever people can post their questions and prompts daily. And I'd have to select them. Then I'd have to draw a complete comic or something similar for that question. And I think we just ran out of music. Yes, we did. No, we didn't. Yes, we did. The video is too long. Let's just do this playlist. Sure, that works for me. It's pink. Now we're back to blue. Where was I? All right. Yeah, no, basically too much effort for too little gain. And really, you know, if I could do this full time, which, I mean, if it at some point happens in the future, would fucking make my entire life. That'd be awesome. Of course, I've already committed myself to not use scummy tactics to make you finance my stuff. It'll all be voluntary, and pretty much all my stuff I'll ever create will be you'll be able to get your hands on it basically for free one way or another, and that's really something I intend to pull through with. So that obviously makes the financial situation, at least for the time being, a bit worse, of course. I don't know if I even could try, if I lock my content behind a paywall, if there'd be a single person that would pay for it. Probably not. But, you know, until we get a volunteer core, basically, of people that have enough money and are willing to spend their money on a dipshit like me, of course, I'll be sitting here making zero profit, which is actually not my profit margin right now. My profit margin is €7 because I just recently sold my first Mapiku Boy PCB. So that's cool. That's really cool. That's awesome. That still makes me about $300 in the hole for the entire project, but you know, being $239 in the hole instead of 300 is an improvement. Still means I'm fucking bankrupt, but I'm slightly less bankrupt. And of course I'm not, you know, practically bankrupt. You can see the fucking stuff. There's a Dreamcast, there's a Saturn right there. I'm not that bankrupt. I probably sell my existence into slavery before I sell my consoles, but you know, I bought them as both something I can tinker around with and something that's more like an emergency fund. Because the retro market is booming and people are apparently unwilling to do their own console modding. So as someone who does soldering and technical stuff, there's a lot of money in that. I thought about this as well. I don't want to set up a modding service because I would like to. Maybe I'll do it at some point. I mean, there'd be a lot of money in that, and that'd be a cool hobby. I basically do my own console modding already. I've done many mods. But dealing with people that have no idea about console mods. I also did a couple of mods for my friends already. Most recently oh my god. Have I told this? No, I haven't told this story. This one's a fucking woozy. I modded I think I need to turn this music down just a little bit. Give me a second. There we go, that's better. I was approached by a friend who asked me if I could mod their Xbox 360, and he said that he had the first version of the Xbox 360 ever. And I was like, oh, that's cool. First of all, I want to work with that. Second of all, makes it very easy to mod. The first 360s, like my own 360, which is there, you can't see it, but it's a Falcon, if I remember correctly. Yes, I think so. I think it's a Falcon. The early 360s, especially the fat 360s, are incredibly easy to mod. The worst part is the disassembly. And anyway, so he came to me and he came with a Corona Slim. If you know your Xbox 360 for modding, you know my fucking entire existence fell apart the second I saw that thing. So first of all, the 360 Slims are perhaps the fucking worst piece of hardware in the world ever to disassemble. Like, holy shit. I'd rather be disassembling a smartphone with a fucking with a fucking guitar pick and a hot gun, and you know, tearing the glued screen off than working with the fucking Xbox 360 Slim. Like, holy shit. Pulling that thing apart fucking sucks. God damn it. Okay. And second of all, you need a postfix adapter for some of them. And of course, the Corona he sent me needed a postfix adapter, which meant I needed to import one from AliExpress. Then it arrived broken, with part of the assembly already, you know, broken. And I told him before, you know, if it's really a early 360, that mod's gonna take me what? I have all the components here. It's gonna take me a day. You can pick it up tomorrow, basically. And it ended up taking up, I think, even more than a month. Mostly me waiting for the AliExpress order to arrive. And me regretting very quickly ordering from AliExpress, because I also saw, well, it was either me ordering it for a couple of bucks from AliExpress or paying like 10 or 15 bucks to have it shipped from me in 3 days from someplace in Germany. I mean, I charged them, I don't remember what I charged. My profit margin wasn't large, and if I paid 15 bucks for the postfix adapter, or if I paid 15 bucks for the postfix adapter, my profit margin would have basically been void, more or less. So, you know. But yeah, I enjoy console modding, and that's something I could do. And of course, I've got a couple of job offers. I could also just join the market. Preferably not in Germany, as I said, but if possible, if somehow possible, I'd really love to do this thing full time. I thought about this most recently as well. In many ways, the Ricani-verse and what I'm writing is very self-serving. It's a I went into it in the first episode, or the 0th episode of the Ricani cast, how the Ricani-verse came to be, how the characters are very much, I don't want to say figments of my character, because that makes it seem like I'm writing like a fucking, you know, in quotations, deep psychological story about myself and exploring the human mind. That's not what this is, but you know, the characters themselves, many of them, most of whom you haven't met yet, were basically derived from what I guess I could call psychological observations I made of other people, and just exploring different aspects in other people, you know, exploring certain psychotypes. Is that a word? You know, like genotypes just for psyche. And, you know, playing with those archetypes and then creating entire factions, planets, political institutions, everything all around that. And in that sense, the Ricani-verse is kind of really self-serving in a way. It's me, you know, it's me writing and drawing about stuff that I find interesting, and, you know, stuff from my own observation, from my own perspective of the universe. I guess that's also kind of what every writer does. I mean, except for those fucking really disgusting commercial writers, you know, those who just write about whatever is popular and whatever makes the most money, which those exist as well. I'm fucking glad I'm not that kind of person. That sounds like a very unhappy life to me. But I guess most people just, you know, most serious writers, most writers by passion write about stuff they enjoy writing about, or most artists of passion draw stuff they enjoy drawing, at least to some degree, even if they do commissions and stuff. At least I hope so. Otherwise, my outlook on humanity is once again changing to the negative. But no, I think most people do. And, you know, like Asimov, for example, he wrote about robots, and people liked his robots writing, and then he got popular. And, of course, he also wrote other sci-fi stuff. But, I guess Asimov would have very much felt the same way about himself. Not wanting to insert myself and using a dead person as a validation of my own ideas, but I think so. Oh, I hope I'm not overstepping any boundaries by saying so, but probably. And I'm fucking not comparing myself to Asimov. God, no. That guy... That guy fucking writing, what, over 500 books in his life? God damn. The world needs more people like Asimov. Seriously. But anyway, going back to a topic more relevant to the celebration of the Rikani-verse, which this still is, and my beer is still not empty, so let me hurry up on that. Yes. So, as Rika ended up getting cancelled, Rikani Cast is now a thing. Short stories are also a thing. We had 2 short stories so far. I've got several more in the pipeline. I've also have my book still in the pipeline. My most recent idea has been that I probably will take the book as it exists right now with the stuff that's written and split it up into short stories. And because that makes it very simple for me. I've said this before. The book needs major rewriting. The part of it that's already here. There is a lot of stuff wrong with it. Not just writing wise and stylistically, but also lore wise. Needs a lot of rewriting. So that's So that's still a lot of work that needs to be done. But I think since I really want to put that book out there one of these days, I think that's one of the smartest ways of doing it. And, me having read Asimov's writings recently and, kind of being inspired by it shows, you can write a book in a short story format that absolutely works. So that'd be a cool thing to do. I have several other short stories still in the pipeline that I get out before I get the first sub-chapters of the book out. But we'll see about that. Right now, it's really a time issue. Rikani short stories are by far the lowest priority, aside from streams, I suppose. Since I only do game streams, since, like I said, I don't want to talk about Rikani stuff on stream, I can cancel streams pretty much at will. It's nuts. I don't care about streams, and I think most of you guys already know, and most of you guys don't care about them either, so those are the lowest priority, followed by Rikani short stories, because getting out the comic and the Rikani cast is infinitely more important. And also, just stuff I care... not necessarily I care more about, but at least for the time being, it's more fun, and I think it's more relevant, I guess. Especially for you guys, of course. And so, that'll be the focus. Rikani cast, Rikani basics, with short stories happening whenever they happen. Of course, we've had 2 short stories so far. Royal Fuck Up and Radical. Royal Fuck Up having been split into 3 parts, because it ended up being a lot longer than I originally intended it to be. Talking about AAiS and Namibia and Vea and a couple of other characters. No, mostly those 2 actually. No, I didn't introduce anyone else. Just these 2, which, like I said at the time, will have absolutely no relevance in the future. Especially concerning the book, and especially AAiS as a planet and as a society full of dickheads will have no role in the future, I'm sure of that. And Radical, which talks about a couple more characters that will have no future relevance, absolutely not. That's why you shouldn't read them. Wink, wink. Radical really is an interesting thing, just because of how old it is. Again, it predates the Rikani concept, so my writing has very much improved since then. At least, I think so. And so Rikani short stories will continue. I want to see if there's anything else in the document I can talk about or update you on. Oh, right. Before I forget, of course, the game project. Not great news on that. So, of course, I originally said I wanted to do an update on that in March. It's May, then I said at the latest in June. If we'll hit a June deadline for... Currently, we're working towards having a functional prototype of the game. Of course, I want to present it as soon as possible. But I also want to present it in a functional and playable state, which it currently isn't in. So, of course, there's no point in me releasing it early and then everyone seeing it and deciding it sucks because it's still not functional. So, obviously, I have to wait with that. And progress will slow down. Pretty much all of us, all the big programmers, are currently occupied by other stuff. I mean, I'm working on it on a weekly basis. I'm slaving away at my goals and what I want to do with the game project. Another guy said he wanted to slow things down for the time being, and the third guy is he's also gonna be probably less able to contribute, at least in the mid to long term. So we'll see. As soon as we have a functional build, I'll absolutely do an update on that and show it off and show it to you people. And I don't know if they'll make it available to download. Probably not, but at least there'll be a video, an update, probably a mission statement or something like that talks about what we want to do with the game. And again, it's very relevant to the Recaniverse and, you know, my entire other stuff. Very much intertwined with that. And, you know, it'll be ready to show up once it's ready. Sadly, the timeline for when it'll be ready has shifted a lot of times already, and it'll probably continue shifting, which I'm not entirely happy about, but it is what it is. It is what it is. We're all giving our best, but, you know, creating a game with 3 people while also being in your first master semester, not that easy, surprisingly. So yeah, I'll keep you guys updated on that. I already talked about the Mapico Boy update. Basically, me selling my first units, generally getting a very good response. The video, especially for my for my Mapico Boy stuff, which I'm very glad about, very happy about that. I'm also, of course, considering topics for my master's degree, and I really want to work on more Mapico Boy stuff. Probably the software component side of things, because MGB is cool and all, but there's more you can do. Of course, LSDJ is also a thing. The big question would, of course, be what could I offer that LSDJ can't offer? I have some ideas, but you'll know about it when it happens. But the Masters is still just under a year out. It'll start in April of next year, March. So until then, there probably won't be any Mapico Boy development. If I run out of Mapico Boy boards on my eBay page, if all of those are sold, I'm gonna create a new batch. I'm gonna redesign the PCB because the current PCB has 2 small issues. And I'll also... No, I don't think I'm going to do surface mount components. I could, and surface mount components would be cool because it allow me to shrink the board. Maybe I should. I'd have to create a mask, of course, and I'd have to use solder paste, which I haven't used before. It's probably not that bad to use. If I did surface mount, I could shrink the PCB pretty much to just over the size of the Raspberry Pi Pico. The only thing that need to jut over the edge would be the MIDI connectors, because obviously, I could actually mount MIDI connectors like surface mount components by bending over their legs or cutting off their legs. But I don't think I should do that. No, probably not. Nah, I won't do that. Never mind. No. So, you know, it'll all be... That'll have to jut over the edge just like it does right now. But I can then use have the surface mount components mounted on the back side of the PCB where the Pico is, and basically shrink it even more, which makes the PCBs cheaper to produce, and, you know, just in general makes the thing cooler because small equals cool. You know, that's the big reason why. Well, one of the reasons why I even invented the Mapico Boy. Basically to create a smaller, cheaper, more modern Arduino boy, which I didn't entirely do. Again, there's still some functionality missing, but I'm happy with how it turned out, and apparently many of you are too, which again makes me happy. So, in general, I thought about this recently. Just all my KPIs are trending positive. The Map Pico Boy situation is cool. People enjoying using that thing, building their own, buying the stuff from me. Cool. And of course, just the bragging rights it gives me. Especially with the older professors at the university, talking about, I did stuff with the Game Boy. Oh, the Game Boy, that wasn't my childhood. I was only like 30 years old at the time, but that's cool. In general, that's awesome. Me going back to ideally doing streams, doing more YouTube stuff, uploading more of this stuff, getting better at art. There's also the Rikani Discord server where some people are starting to join. There's nothing much on there, so if you don't want to join, you're not missing out. Mostly scheduling updates, all of that stuff. If you want, you can post fan art on there. I'd probably have to provide more Rikani information for you to draw Rikani fan art. Probably. I should do that. That's why the next episode of Rikani Cast is really necessary. But, just a small channel. I'm not that avid of a Discord user. I basically just joined Discord servers I need to join. The ones for university, the ones we can have as a dev team. Discord for dev stuff is actually pretty cool. But that's about it. School stuff, dev stuff, that's just about it, really. Yeah, I'm not too fond of Discord as a... I'm just not fond of social media in general, and Discord is social media. And if you join the larger Discord servers, they're just like social media. I don't want to go into it, but I've got my reservations about social media. I talked about those plenty of times before. Not really my type of thing. YouTube is fine. That's about all I'm fine with. Yeah. DeviantArt, I guess DeviantArt is a form of social media. There are posts on there and everything. That's fine too, I suppose. And image boards. I have a soft spot for image boards. But proper anonymous image boards. But that's just for shit posting reasons. Anyway, don't know how the first year anniversary celebration of the Rikani Cast has developed me shitting on social media again. Or me having a huge discussion about art style, but I think we can just about leave it off here. I think that I talked about everything I wanted to talk about. It's gonna be more of the same. University is gonna suck. Productivity continues being an issue. It's very dark. I just noticed my camera's looking very dark. That's gonna be a problem in editing. Cool. Anyway, that's also a good reason for me to finally leave off the stream. It's gone on for a lot longer than I think I would. I still haven't finished my beer. I'm not gonna finish my beer on stream. That's fine. I'll fucking finish it while I'm editing this. I'm trying to get it out on May 15th. This video is recorded on May 15th at 20:44 p.m. No, not p.m. because 24-hour time doesn't use a.m. or p.m. But at 20:44, which means I have just about 3 hours left to get this episode out, which is what I'll try to do. And I'm gonna spend the rest of the day editing and celebrating. And it has been one hell of a year. I'll say that much. If you're listening to this and you have your own projects that you're considering releasing at some point, but you're not sure if you should release right now. Many people give this advice, and I usually shit on those people because they make it sound very easy. The advice that most people that are successful will give you is to just start. Of course, when fucking Jeff Bezos talks to you about, just start, idiot. It's that fucking easy. You're of course gonna look at him and go, okay, well, I don't think I can relate to this. I don't think that's quite fair. I don't think Jeff Bezos talking about me just starting is applicable to my situation. But I pulled the trigger at one point. And I didn't pull the trigger with much, as you can. Let me bring the picture up for last time. I didn't start with much, at least not much that was good. But I pulled the trigger, and I've proved since then. I've attracted a small following in just a single year. I've done a lot of work. It's cost me a lot of time, a lot of my sanity, a lot of my sleep. But it's also just improved me like a person like nothing else. Like, holy shit, goddamn. The first time I wanted to do a stream, I was just a fucking wreck, basically. The idea of me going online by myself, going live even, holy shit, didn't think it possible. And now I can sit in front of a camera and upload these videos like they're nothing else. It's fine. I can just do this. No problem. At least for the most part. And also I can put my drawings out. I'm now trying to slowly improve my situation of, dealing with comments and stuff from other people, replying to people, also keeping people up to date whenever I miss a deadline. That's something I should do more. And eventually advertising, like I already talked about, but, improve it one thing at a time. And, I'm celebrating this occasion because I've now got a 1 year of improvement to look back upon. And there's been a lot of improvement in just 1 year. Like, damn. I also said in the writing, this was probably the worst year of my life. Not probably, it absolutely was. This year sucked. This year sucked for a lot of different reasons. Some family problems, some university stuff. Me losing a lot of sleep over both university, my bachelor's, the comic, everything else. This year was awful. But it was also great. It was fucking fantastic. It was the most fun year of my life by far. It was the most productive, the best year of my life. The worst and best year. And, of course, the big reason why it was so great of a fucking year, well, I'm looking back at this year of improvement with such fondness. I'm looking forward to the next year and seeing where I'll be in a year from now is, of course, you guys. You guys following me on DeviantArt, looking at my YouTube videos, liking my stuff, sharing my stuff, talking about how you enjoy my stuff, praising me for my stuff, despite, even me sometimes not liking my own stuff. Just a huge thank you. None of this, I wouldn't be here without you. This has been incredible. Just thinking back, this has been not just the worst year. I don't know if it's been the shortest or the longest year of my life. 1 year ago, the release of An Altercation in Space both feels like a really long time ago and not that long ago, both at the same time. It's just been... But when I think back to myself, the release of Altercation in Space on May 15th, 1 year ago, was a Monday. I know that much. Released the pages and then immediately went to my local gun club and shot some air gun in frustration. Or it might have even been small caliber, I don't remember. One of the two. No, I think it might have been the first time I shot small caliber. Huh. Yeah, I think so. Interesting. Basically pulling the trigger here, pressing the enter key, running to the train station, riding the train to my local gun club, and then not having the confidence to check out DeviantArt for more than a week. It was, I don't know how many days until I checked back on DeviantArt. Just out of fucking fear that people would despise my stuff, which realistically they should have, looking at this stuff nowadays. But no, I'm a completely different person since then. In general, ever since I was diagnosed with ADD, since I started taking Ritalin, this journey has been insane. Thanks to Ritalin, being able to live life at least somewhat like a normal person, and being able to concentrate on stuff for more than 2 minutes. In fact, me being able to concentrate on Rikani stuff for a year now. Insane. Insane what you can do in a year if you just keep at it every single day, no matter how painful it might be at some points, no matter how stressful it might be, doing that stuff for a year, and then after a year being able to look back and say, you know what, I pulled through. I pulled the trigger exactly 1 year ago, despite all my inadequacies at the time, and many inadequacies that, still carry on to this day. There's still many areas I could improve, but, now me being able to look back saying, okay, I did that despite everything, really. I was a confident motherfucker a year ago putting out my art in the state that it was in, like, damn. Damn. Wow. Okay, that took a lot of confidence. And having done that, having pulled the trigger, having spent a year improving my craft in all areas, trying to improve myself as a person, and really having improved in many areas, it's a fucking amazing feeling. It's indescribable, really. And again, a lot of this is thanks to you guys giving me the motivation and everything else to keep going, knowing that I have like close to 100 followers now on DeviantArt. Around 100 people that are actually looking forward to my output, that want to see what I do, and that want to see me put out new stuff. That's a cool driving force to have, really. And you know, just doing it in order to make these people happy, preferably. That's awesome. And that's why I'm glad that I pulled the trigger a year ago, that despite all shortcomings, despite everything that happened, a lot of bad stuff happened. Again, not just me going back on my promises with the comic, also family stuff, also university stuff. It was a really, really, really rough year, all things considered. Still, it has been, again, the worst and best year of my life. And again, if you're out there, you're considering starting your own project, as someone who's still not over the bump of even being able to say that his art is anywhere close to okay, and as someone who has started at the point that I did start and did survive without the internet, creating a hate mob and burning down your house, it's worth it. It really is. People are kinder than you think, and also people don't care about you as much as you think. Really. Usually when people see, even, you know, they see bad art, they see bad writing, unless it's really funny, like some of the fucking Miiverse writings back in the day, or My Immortal, or anything like that. Even My Immortal, people like My Immortal. They like it for the same reason they like The Room, but they still like it. But unless it's on that level of funny, bad, people just ignore bad art for the most part. Some try to give criticisms, which is of course incredibly helpful. That's amazing. And you know, the other people just ignore it. Very rarely do people actually hate on your stuff, which is also something that I didn't know at the time. Making me even braver at the time. I pulled the trigger and went through with my stuff. But also, I'm gonna pull up the Word document because it's getting really dark. There, that's at least some light. It's a really bright headlight, but at least you can see my face again. For like 2 minutes we still have in the stream. You know, pulling the trigger, it's worth it. That's all I wanted to say. Last year has been nothing short of wild. And I think that's everything I wanted to say. I've said my thank yous many times. No, thank you once again, or one final time, for joining me in the stream, for sticking around with me for 1 year now, for seeing me struggle through this year, for seeing me have both a good time and a bad time, for seeing me do my own stuff, trying to improve every day, for seeing me actually improve in many areas, for encouraging me, for everything else. Thank you. Just thank you. You guys are incredible. And I think that's a good message to end this on. This is AP signing out. Have a good one for another year of Mekani shenanigans. See ya.